Welcome to episode 48 of the Realtor for Hoopers interview series. I am Adam Kemp, aka the Realtor for Hoopers. Today's guest is the current athletic director at the Evelyn High School, where we sit right now, and also the founder and camp director of AIM Sports Camps, Adam Kelsey. Appreciate you, Adam.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Every time I flick the wrist, you can bet that it's a switch. Realtor for Hoopers, welcome to the main event. I'ma give the people what they ask for. Whole squad moving like a task force. We move with military precision, accomplishing any mission. In 2020 division, just don't see no competition, don't see no opposition. We on top of the game, we not one and the same. I'm Stephen Curry, the range, I Allen out with the cross. I'm Kobe Bryant, the fade, I'm one that's calling the plays. Now what else more can I say?
Well, the first question we always start off everyone with, and you can kind of go as deep as you want, is tell us your basketball story.
Sure. So I grew up in Connecticut in a small town community in the northwest corner. Had some great, one of the themes definitely that's going to come out of this is like sports communities, right?
Yeah.
The community that sports builds. And my community when I was growing up was, small town, but also I had some great coaches when I was in grade school, middle school. My middle school basketball coach was awesome, and a great mentor that I had. And, and just playing a lot, with my friends, playing all kinds of different sports. And certainly basketball was one of them. And then going on to Housatonic Valley Regional High School was a hotbed of sports as well.
Yeah.
And basketball was one of them. I also played soccer and tennis and played each of those sports for 4 years and look forward to every one of those sports.
Yeah.
And basketball was certainly one of them. And we had a very competitive basketball program. And actually we were competitive in pretty much all the different high school sports. In Connecticut, they have this, or they used to have it. I think it's changed a little bit over the last 10 or 15 years. But in the 80s and 90s, there was this award called the Michaels Cup.
Okay.
And what they would do is they had criteria. Some of it was certainly win-loss, but also other criteria for how your overall athletic program was. And our high school, 2 of my 4 years there, won the Michaels Cup for our classification.
Wow.
So being in that community with that kind of success in athletics, very much the school pride revolved around that.
Yeah.
That taught me a lot that, I'm still using in my current life. Right. So, my basketball experience too, is very much played on the freshman team, freshman year, JV, my sophomore year, was on the varsity. My junior year was not a starter, was a starter my senior year. I was never
the natural progression.
That if you have a great program, that's usually what it is, right? So, and played with some great players, but I was never the best player on the team. I've never had that experience of the basketball team being the best player. So, and really didn't have any plans to play college basketball. So now, college, I go to Springfield College, birthplace of basketball, in Springfield, Mass, and for my freshman year. And of course, I fall in with these guys that are just hoop heads. They just love basketball. None of them are on the team at the time. Springfield was a Division II, Division II program. Now it's D3. But, just played so much hoop.
Yeah.
And then I was a bit of a late bloomer. I grew like 1.5 inches. I got bigger, stronger, faster, and just played so much basketball. And even was training basketball. With these guys, and had so much fun with them. And then Springfield's a private school. I came from a very working class family, and we're thinking about how much school costs, and talking about maybe should you transfer back to a school in Connecticut and go to a state university.
Okay.
So some people I knew, including my girlfriend at the time, were going to Eastern Connecticut State.
Okay.
So I transferred to Eastern Connecticut State, and then I'd gotten so much better at basketball that I was like, I'm going to walk on. I'm going to try to walk on.
Love it.
Walked on. Nobody knew me, right? Yep. Aside from just playing in the fall before the season. Walked on, made the team, sat in these kind of chairs for 2 years. And I mean, a lot of sitting. Coach Switchenko, incredible coach, very Bobby Knight-esque. But that is exactly how I like to be coached. At that time, that was perfect for me. And really like worked my tail off and got better and better and better, right? Coach Swichenko stepped down, new coach, Coach Davis came in. And at that time, it was an incredible basketball community at Eastern, very diverse, a lot of city kids. Really, you could probably have put up a couple teams of guys from pickup games that could have given our NCAA top 20 team a run for their money, that kind of basketball. The pickup was insane. So much fun. And so, my junior year, got in the rotation, got to play. My senior year was a starter and was one of the team captains.
That's awesome.
And my job was simply play better at defense than offense.
Got it.
Guard the best perimeter player on the other team and pass to the guys that could shoot better than you, which was a lot of guys. So, and that was it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. I think having stories where it isn't just success at every moment during your story, it's always really powerful, because I think, especially in the social media era that we have now, we all see only everyone's highlights. You don't see all the like, hey, no, I had to really work hard to get this spot or this role or this whatever. I had to change how I played here, or really worked on this skill or whatever. So the more and more, especially youth players here, like, it's not a straight line. Very rarely. There's only a handpicked few every year that has been a straight line. Sure. Besides that, it is just a journey that you have to get to where you get to say.
And I talk to kids and parents about that. Kids today, there's a lot of more instant gratification. Yeah. They don't want to grind and work for it.
Yeah.
And having done that, it's you appreciate it a lot more.
For sure.
When you build something, you might be building yourself. You might be building a team or a program or a school athletic program. Like any of those achievements, when you really work hard, it feels really good when you have some success, right?
Well, sure. Yep. Well, so then post college, you became a coach at Denver South, and so I guess just in general, what do you feel like kind of were the best and worst things about being a high school coach?
The best thing in coaching is the people, right? It's the kids I got to coach. Some of them I've apologized to. I got that job when I was 27 years old. I had only a couple years out of college, right? And had a lot to learn. It was really trial by error, trial by fire.
Yeah.
And the best part was the kids I got to coach, the kids I'm still in touch with that are now, grown men with kids and families, and seeing the success that they've had and challenges they've overcome. But also the people that I've coached with, like the guys that I got to coach with on my staff, and the connections, the administrators, teachers. Education is very much relationship based, right?
Absolutely.
And that was one of my favorite parts of coaching. There's certainly coaches that we didn't always get along very well from opposing teams, right? Apologies, guys. Officials, apologies, officials. But just the relationships and the people that I've gotten to know, and the connections that I've had through athletics and especially coaching. The cool thing too is at South, when I inherited that program, it was not in the best of shape, right? And being given the trust from administrators to take our lumps, right? And we did, but being able to the trust to build something, and we built something really special at South in basketball. And it's still, that motor's still going with Coach Valdez now. I handed it off to Malik Fletcher, who was my longtime assistant, and he kept it going for like 5 or 6 years, and then we hired Vince, and being able to like say, hey, we're going to start a feeder program for South that's still building that program. So still seeing the fruits of the labor that we put in for over 20 years there is really cool. So that was, I would say, the people.
And then what about like, what was the headache, or what was kind of the work? I always like to see like kind of the downside of maybe high school coaching.
I think in retrospect, I kind of got burned out a little bit, because here in Colorado, you basically, if you're really trying to be a top level program, you got to coach year round. And it's a grind. And I told you my story. I'm a grinder, man. I love to grind, but it just kind of wore on me. And I had a young family at the time, and And honestly, I spent more hours in the gym and at the school as a high school coach than I do as an athletic director.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yes.
But, it was really fun. And, in some states, they limit what your contact can be, right?
Yep.
In Connecticut, when I was growing up, you couldn't, or high school coaches couldn't coach us year round.
Yeah.
And it really gets into, now we're going to talk about the multi-sport deal, but that's where a lot of that, if you want to be on a top level program, you're going to have to play basketball year round to keep up with everybody, right? To get the reps, to get the training and be a part of the team. And it doesn't really afford kids, especially at the high school level sometimes, to play other sports.
Absolutely.
So
this is the first time I've been able to ask this question, because I think you can have a very unique perspective, because you can bring it in from the player, the coach, and the athletic director perspective. But what do you think is missing from high school basketball? And that can be a Colorado high school basketball, just high school basketball in general. But what do you think is missing?
I would say, and I don't know if I'm just speaking from my experience of growing up, but I also think just basketball is so uber organized now.
Yeah.
Right. And my son just went through this, and played club and high school basketball. So I know it as a sports parent too. It's another even viewpoint. But, I just think that there aren't enough pickup games. I grew up playing 21 with 2 or 3 of my buddies.
Yeah.
How much better do you get at that with 3 guys coming after you?
Yep.
The creativity you have to have, and shot making ability, and then playing pickup and having to play with different kinds of people, and a competitiveness that came from that.
Yep.
Because you don't want to sit.
Nope.
Right.
Yep.
Here it's everyone needs to be able to play and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, when you're 5th on the list at the pickup spot, and people better hold their own,
Exactly.
and people better be playing and getting after it, because I'm going to let you know if you're not, because I want to play. I want to win and play. So I think there's things from that I don't think kids play enough pickup. I don't think there's enough opportunity, and just a flow of basketball that is created through that, where it's not so structured.
Yep.
I think that's one. I think we could play. I'm a defensive minded. I always was as a player, as a coach. And I just think I've been to plenty of club practices where there's no defense being coached, taught, emphasized. And I love to try, and when I was coaching, our thing was, we want to play harder than you. We're going to be tougher than you, and that's what we, hung our hat on, because if we didn't have as much talent as maybe the next team, then we knew we could hang with you and give ourselves a chance to win. But I think coaching defense, maybe more of that. But those are 2. The other thing I was thinking of as well is, you can learn a lot if you play basketball with a bunch of old men that know how to play and talk.
For sure.
There's always a challenge to get kids to talk on the court.
Yep.
They'll talk everywhere else, the halls and class, et cetera, but trying to get them to talk on the court. And you would learn that if you played with a bunch of older guys.
For sure.
Because everybody's talking. It's a constant chatter and communication. And that's a part of the flow of the game too.
Yep.
That I think kids don't learn because they don't have those opportunities to play with older guys.
So my answer to that question, and it's great that you ended that way, was going to be, is having more of a mentorship situation for guys that are actually on the court playing with them. Because there's I started playing, the biggest progression of my high school or my basketball career in general is when I was 13, my dad started bringing me to his pickup runs with adult men.
Yep.
And the first time I tried to cut across the lane and got a forearm right to my chest and couldn't breathe for 45 seconds. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to box out just a 30-year-old man and trying to do it. And then once I got to be able to compete on that level, then going to play with kids my own age, this is easy.
Yes.
Because the game was slower, everything was slower. And I had all these little, I don't want to say, they're not it's just the little tricks of the trade where it was just hey, when you're getting through this screen, you can wrap your arm around here, or hey, instead of helping this low, help a little bit higher, and things like that, where until you see it in the communication side of things, you don't really know. You had to have someone come in, in a high school program, it's really hard to have an individualized, mentorship towards that one player. Where in pickup, I think it's a lot easier for an old guy to kind of help one individual player. Where if you're a high school basketball coach, you've got 20, 30 kids you're trying to like teach a system and whatever. And there's not a lot of very like,
and there would be a natural mentorship because people want to pass the game on.
Yes.
Right. Even if it's not your own son.
For sure.
And I loved it when my son played with myself and other friends, like them being able to teach him things. I was like, yeah, take him aside and talk to him. Like, you know, I think that's, it would be great to be able to create more of those avenues for kids, you know.
For sure.
And there's some out there. They're harder to find.
Yeah. I think it kind of gets into our next hub too. I think that it kind of relies on parents to be not forcing, but setting up situations where their son or daughter can have those experiences with older players and all of that. So, well, the next question is something that we've talked and I'm very passionate about, and I think, but I would like to hear your thoughts first. But I guess talk to me about your general feelings about having like a youth athlete be a specialized one sport athlete versus playing and experiencing multiple sports.
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously very passionate about that.
Yeah.
That's why I even it's what our sports camp program is about. And it's what, you know, being an athletic director, you know, is the ultimate job where you have your hands and supporting all these different programs and kids playing sports. You know, I've got a lot of thoughts about it. I'm really anti-specialization when, you know, obviously before high school.
Yep.
You know, I think the challenge is that there's a number of layers to it. Number one, there's not a lot of opportunity for kids to get in. You know, there's no middle ground. There's like lower, very rec sports.
Yep.
Then there's club.
Yep.
And there's not really a lot of in between.
Yeah, you just go play at your YMCA or go play for a club team.
And we both came from like like my parents wouldn't have been able to afford for me to play if there was club sports. I wouldn't have been able to play it. You know, and you know, thankfully I can for my kids, and I've gotten to see that side of things. My son played club, you know, basketball and lacrosse, and my daughter's currently playing club volleyball. So I'm a part of that as a parent. But I've also, like, as a parent, tried to get my kids to play different sports, you know, even into high school. So I think the access point is important to look at, right? But I also think when you're talking about club, those folks they're running a business, and in that business model, they want their clients to be there year round because that's supporting their business, right? And some of them, that's the only business that they're running. So it's their livelihood. I get that. But, you know, man, when you're telling like a 9 or 10-year-old, hey, you're the next big thing, and every parent wants to hear that, right? Oh, my kid made this top level team, and they love to talk about that. And I'm even guilty of that. But it's when you do that, you know, and then you listen to that, and then you're like, well, you're only going to play soccer now because you have this opportunity, and you're not going to go try lacrosse, and you're not going to be able to play basketball anymore. And you're not going to be able to go play tackle or flag football. Like, it's just, there's so many benefits, and we all know the benefits. Research shows it.
Yep.
Everybody talks about it. All these benefits. College coaches say, if you want a college, we want kids that are multi-sport athletes.
Yep.
But then when it comes down to the decision being made by a parent, that's where, you know, parents have to be able to make that decision and say, no, we need to be able to play these. And programs like, you know, the programs that we partner with, the club programs, I'm only looking to partner with club programs that will support multi-sport athletes. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. And then I'm gonna, hey, when kids come to our camps and they're like now interested in basketball, they're now interested in you know, volleyball or whatever, I'm gonna say, go to this program because then your kid can continue to play other sports. Because I know the ones that maybe not be supporting that philosophy. And I get why. I get the why. Yeah. And I think parents have to be smart about navigating that. When you get to high school, now it's a little different, right? Yep. And I really think through your sophomore year of high school, you should still be participating in multi-sports. Yeah. Another factor people don't maybe not think about is, you know, I was never the best player on my teams or the top, you know, the star. And that made it a lot easier for me to sit in one of these things and watch and and go work my butt off in practice, you know,
sure.
and when you're a star and you play one sport and now you go to college and guess what? The rubber's going to meet the road for you.
Yep.
And you're going to have to do this probably.
Mm-hmm.
And can you handle it? I think a lot of kids come home because they can't handle it.
Yep.
They can't handle it emotionally and
Yep.
having to sit there and grind.
Yep.
And that's not all, but I think it is a factor. And I think if you play multiple sports, that probably gives you the opportunity to maybe be a role player in a different sport.
Sure.
And that is going to enhance probably your opportunities to be a better college athlete. That's what.
And I think it's also enhancing you to be just a better human in general.
Yeah.
And I think that my point is I always want to raise an athlete and not raise a one sport specialized person, because just like in life, if you put all your eggs in one basket and that basket doesn't work out, then you've wrapped a lot of your self-worth and a lot of the stresses and like purpose and everything you have in life around that one thing. And if you don't have options, like whether that's stress you're feeling from your parents or like how you see your future or whatever, like sometimes that can be really tough to handle, especially if you're 12 years old, you know?
Absolutely.
And so I think it's just all of the different experiences playing multiple sports, where one, I think just athletically, you're more well-rounded athlete.
Mm-hmm.
You can move in different ways. It's better for injury prevention because you know how to land and cut and jump and whatever and take contact in different ways. Yep. But you also, like I said, have different roles on every team. You know, you can play a one sport, like an individual sport, and know that it's on you and only you. Then you can play a team sport and where you have a certain role on that to play. And then you play a different sport where you're the person, you're the guy or whatever. You know, all these different, and different coaching, being able to take.
You're working for a different boss now.
Exactly. All of this stuff just makes you a more well-rounded human and an athlete, I think, in general. But then there is a time and place, whether that's your sophomore, junior year of high school, or whenever, where it's like, this is going to be my sport and this is when I can go. But like, it is on the parents to, even if they're kids, like, no, all I want to do is play basketball and I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to do that, to either like slow them down enough to be like, hey, no, let's get a better lay of the land, understand all these other sports and whatever, which is a really hard thing when your kid has motivation too. But like, to me, you have to set things up for your kid, just like you're parenting them in general. Like, I want you to be a well-rounded human, not just this, like, only do this with your life, you know? So
I think that's what we all want, but it's just, it's a tricky deal to navigate.
For sure.
It really is, because you're a parent, you know, in parenting, you're trying to figure out what's best and do what's best. And there isn't always like, you know, the exact blueprint. You got to figure out what's right for your kid and your family. And, you know, it's a tricky one, but I do love, like, you know, when I was at South, which became a bigger and bigger program, and we got closer and closer to that, more of those kids specializing and playing club year round. So they weren't just playing for their high school team, they're playing club. But I used to really tell coaches, like, if I hear that you're saying, like, you should not play this sport and so that you can go to our off-season stuff, I don't think this is the right place for you.
Yep.
Here at Devlin, which is so much smaller, our sports would not exist if we weren't. So this is a great place in terms of like a multi-sport experience for kids, because, you know, there's 600 students instead of 2,000 students. So it's
less bodies, more opportunity.
More opportunity, and coaches have to work together. Because if you're not supporting the multi-sport, then other coaches don't, then you're going to be losing kids. You're going to be losing athletes. So it's kind of a throwback to, and I think most small high schools anywhere in the country they're not doing specialization much, you know.
Sure. So. All right. Well, I kind of switched this question towards more the end of the interview, but like I said in the intro, you're the founder and camp director of AIM Sports Camps.
Yep.
So I guess would love to hear the story of kind of how it started and then kind of what the overall mission is.
Sure. So this, again, going back to that theme of community and your network and athletics, right? So one of my, told you I was from Connecticut, played at Eastern Connecticut State. One of my college teammates, who was a high school coach in the Hartford area in Connecticut, he was working for this program called 241 Sports, which was out of West Hartford. And one summer I was home and I was like, yeah, I'm going to come check you out. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm working at this camp and I'm running the basketball portion of camp. I was like, so it's not a basketball camp? He's like, no, it's a multi-sport camp. So I go out and I visit with him, and I hung out at this camp for a day, and I was like, this is amazing. This is a really amazing concept to have all these different sports, and kids were like rotating like almost sports classes, right?
Wow.
So it's a great blueprint. At the time, I think I was just at the end of coaching and about to transition to be the athletic director at South. And so through that day, I got connected with the Boyles, who are the founders of 2 for 1.
Okay.
Which at that time, they were trying to get out of Connecticut and expand their program because they're like, we got a hot ticket here and we want to like try and get into some other states. So we figured out this partnership where they came to South and brought their program to South. Because I can tell you as an AD, I'd love to run a camp like that. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't have the time. Coaches don't have the time. They're all getting pulled in all these different directions. And there's a lot of like back end stuff to run a camp with registrations and, hiring people and doing all these different things. So we partnered, and the partnership was simply this, like they came in, brought their blueprint, and I directed the camp and hired our coaches and our student athletes to be counselors. We did that for 7-8 years at South. This thing became wildly popular.
Yeah.
Okay. It went from like 50 kids or 40 kids the first year to 150 kids a week for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Crazy. Because the blueprint of it is really a great blueprint.
Yeah.
Now 2 for 1 is blown up. They're in like 7 different states. They run like 40 weeks of programming across the country.
Wow.
But when I left South, I said, I kind of want to do this on my own. And the reason is because I really saw something that 2 for 1 doesn't necessarily do with all of their camps. But I saw an opportunity for that partnership with an athletic program where you can build community. Now, one thing that happened at South from that camp was a direct dividend of it. And we're a school of choice state, right?
Yep.
So when we started running that camp program, South's enrollment was about 1,500 kids.
Okay.
When we stopped, it's 2,000 students. There are very few connection points that a school can have with elementary age and middle school age kids than sports. There really aren't any other access points that I know of. Cherry Creek schools, has Mile High sports camps. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yep.
That's really unique to each school, where you have a cheerleading camp, a football camp, a basketball camp, whatever they want to run. So a little different concept. What we were doing at South was running the multi-sport camp that became a community camp where you could come in and you could meet some coaches and kids, and then we could run spin-offs like a lacrosse camp, like a soccer camp, like a basketball camp off of it. With unique programs. So that's what so it's really two-part in the focus of the program. One is kind of the anti-specialization. If you come to our camp, you're going to experience traditional sports like basketball, flag football, soccer, volleyball. But we have this program we call exposure sports, where I want to bring in sports partners like Altitude Ultimate Frisbee comes in and they do a ultimate Frisbee unit. And then I can promote their program, which helps them. But they can come in and are experts in that and can share that with kids who may have never played before, have never even thrown a Frisbee before. We've brought in rugby, we've brought in golf. I'm always looking for what other kind of off-the-wall sports we can bring in and be creative. And then partnering with the school. So now I'm partnering with the AD. I'm trying to hire their coaches to lead each sport, right? Doesn't have to be the varsity coach. It can be an assistant coach, the tennis coach, the basketball coach, the football coach. And then they can say, oh yeah, we've got identify a few student athletes to come help them. So it's a great summer job for all of them, because coaches, teachers are looking for those gigs. And the kids are as well. And then also it's a fundraiser for the school. So it's been there's so many wins on it. I really should be, to be honest, like talking to principals about, like, if you want to increase enrollment, which is the game and the competitive game within schools, this is an option, man. This is something. So I'm just passionate about it. I love being around, I'm around high school kids all the time. This gives me an opportunity to be around elementary school age kids, which is so much fun. And some middle school kids too. it's great. And the other thing is that it's access for all kids.
Yep.
There's kids, we've got kids that I know and I can see at 9, 10 years old, little dude, you're going to be a star.
Yeah.
You are, because you can see that at that age, right?
Yep.
But I've also got kids that are so shy, they haven't even played sports yet.
Yeah.
You know?
You're
and
telling
especially
them
like,
that this is a basketball.
Yes. Yes. And especially like girls many times start later. Like my son was from the get-go, he wanted to play sports. My daughter was much more reluctant. And I think that's true for a lot of younger girls. And this is a great access point. One of the other things is we have everybody plays together.
Yep.
You know, you're not separated by age or ability level.
Yep.
It's very much like growing up in your neighborhood and playing neighborhood games.
Yep.
And some of the best times at camp was when they have free play time in the gym and the games they come up with.
Yep.
Like be creative and come up with your own game, because kids sit on the sticks and play video games. And or they're in Uber organized club programs or whatever. So it's more of there's a lot more play. It's not a lot of skills and drills. And kids love it. Kids and parents love it. So
and I think what's cool about, the AIM stands for athletes in motion, correct? Mm-hmm. And I think what I've seen and from all the videos and seeing it is that like there's not a lot of standing. No. That when you're there, you're just transferring to the next station or the next sport or the next whatever. And it's this fun environment where it's not a practice and they're not like running suicides or anything like that, but they're getting so much activity. They're, it's serving their body well while also having fun, and all your coaches make it fun and all that. So it's a really cool.
Fun and play.
Yeah.
Those are two things. Who doesn't like to do that? We all like to do that.
For sure.
We're still doing that as adults.
Yep.
And, currently we've been we started it 2 years ago, and we've been working pretty exclusively with Littleton High School and Mullen High School.
Yep.
Those have been our two kind of hubs. And I think we're getting to the point where we're ready to, expand if there's another, school or program that wants to partner with us. So, and always looking for, more youth sports partners, like partner with Colorado Flag Football and, Pro Skills Basketball.
Yep.
I know you talked to Ross and like-minded around the multi-sport philosophy. Elevation Volleyball has been really great with that too. And just like cross-promoting each other and
that's awesome.
Creating those connections. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Great. I got 2 more questions for you.
Right on.
So second to last question is whether you've said it in this interview or not, but what is something you want to make sure people take away from your story?
Well, I spent my whole life immersed in education-based athletics, and it's been pretty fun.
Yeah.
From being a kid playing sports to being an educator. I don't know. I always tell, like young parents, I'm always like, if you can coach your kid, coach your kid. That's a very small window.
Yeah. And
I took advantage of that and coached my kids in the sports that I was, I guess, qualified to coach them in. And that has been really fun for our family. And so I always say that and getting involved in just the community and then the network that sports create, right?
For sure.
And just, while you're in it and your kids are playing or, that you appreciate that, because when it's gone, bam,
that's great.
Those windows close, but get to stay connected through like being an AD and running the sports camp. So that's great.
All right, then the last question, and sometimes it's the hardest, but what is your one favorite thing about basketball?
Favorite thing about basketball, man. I think just the symmetry of good basketball. And the interconnectedness of those 5 players and even just having done it as a player and as a coach, the involvement of a coach, and the team. I think it's the greatest, synergy, and also the blend of individual and team concepts, right? That really no other sport has. And I can't say it's my favorite sport because I'm an athletic director. I would catch, obviously, that's where I have my most, I spent my most time in these kinds of spaces. Yeah. And loved it, no matter what seat I was in or what my role was. So
I think basketball can be an art.
Absolutely.
Like the symmetry and all thing that you're talking about how there can just be a chemistry among the guys on the floor and their coach and the whole team that it just becomes so like natural and free flowing and just little like eye contact on a back cut or just all these little things that can just be when it's played and is like so well, it can just be such an art form. It's amazing.
Well, and the flip side too is we're all chasing that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'd be like, man, I'm putting all my hopes and dreams and all this work into the hands of 16, 17-year-old boys. Like, and I'm coaching basketball. I'm like, sometimes the most challenging group, the most unpredictable group to work with of human beings.
For sure.
And then we're like, okay, we're going to find success together, guys. I mean, I think if you can do that, you can do just about anything. Right?
For sure. Well, sweet. Well, Adam, I appreciate your time, sir.
All right. Thanks for having me, my man.
Thanks.
Adam and Adam.
Yep.
There we go.
For sure.
Every time I flick the wrist, you can bet that it's a switch. Realtor for hoopers, welcome to the main event.